The winter sun rose over the frost-covered fields of Moravia, casting a pale light on the frozen landscape. It was December 2nd, 1805, a day that would be etched into history. The French army, led by their young and ambitious Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte, stood ready. They were outnumbered, but not outmatched. The combined forces of Austria and Russia awaited them, confident in their superior numbers. This confrontation was the culmination of years of war and shifting alliances, a complex web of power struggles. Napoleon had carefully chosen this battlefield. He knew the ground intimately. He understood his enemy's tactics and weaknesses. The battle raged throughout the day, a relentless clash of wills and strategies. Cannon fire shook the earth, a deafening roar that echoed across the fields. Musket smoke filled the air, creating a thick, choking fog that obscured vision and added to the chaos. The Allied armies, confident in their overwhelming numbers, launched attack after attack, determined to break the French lines. Each time, Napoleon's forces held firm, repelling them with disciplined volleys and unwavering resolve. Then at the perfect moment, Napoleon unleashed his masterstroke. He'd anticipated the enemy's movements with uncanny precision. French troops stormed the Pratzen Plateau, the key to the Allied position, with fierce determination. The attack was swift and decisive, a testament to Napoleon's strategic brilliance. Panic spread through the Allied ranks. Their lines crumbled under the relentless French assault. Thousands of soldiers, caught in the rout, were driven onto the frozen lakes, their fate sealed by the treacherous ice. The ice cracked and gave way beneath their weight, plunging them into the icy depths. The cries of drowning men echoed across the battlefield, a haunting reminder of the battle's brutality. Austerlitz was a crushing victory for Napoleon, a triumph that would be remembered for generations. It cemented his reputation as a military genius, a leader whose strategies were unmatched. It sent shockwaves across Europe, altering the balance of power. This was not just a battle won, it was a decisive moment in history. It was the dawn of a new era, a turning point that would shape the future. The legend of Napoleon, the invincible conqueror, was born on that day, a legend that would grow with each subsequent victory. But Austerlitz was more than just a military victory. It was a defining moment for Napoleon. It was a testament to Napoleon's boundless ambition and his vision for a new Europe. He sought to reshape the map of Europe, to create an empire that would stand the test of time. He would use his armies, his strategies, and his unyielding will to achieve his grand vision. Austerlitz was the first decisive step towards the realization of his ambition, a step that would echo through the annals of history. Napoleon's resounding victory at Austerlitz sent a clear and unmistakable message to the monarchs of Europe. The old order, with its ancient traditions and hierarchies, was crumbling. A new era, filled with both hope and uncertainty, had begun. Napoleon's ambition was not merely to conquer lands and expand territories. He envisioned a Europe united under French leadership, guided by the revolutionary principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. He believed that a strong, centralized France could bring lasting peace and stability to the continent. He saw himself as a modern Caesar, destined to forge a new Roman Empire that would stand the test of time. He would sweep away the remnants of feudalism and outdated practices. He would replace them with a rational, efficient system based on merit and talent, ensuring fairness and progress. Napoleon's vision extended far beyond the battlefield and the immediate spoils of war. He was a skilled administrator and a shrewd politician, adept at navigating the complexities of governance. He implemented sweeping reforms in France that would have a lasting impact. These reforms modernized the government, the legal system, and the economy, laying the foundation for a modern state. He established the Bank of France to stabilize the currency and ensure economic stability. He introduced the Napoleonic Code, a comprehensive legal system that remains influential to this day, shaping legal frameworks worldwide. Napoleon's ambition knew no bounds, driving him to achieve the seemingly impossible. He saw himself as a man of destiny, chosen by fate to lead. He believed he was chosen to lead France, and indeed all of Europe, into a new age of enlightenment and unprecedented prosperity. His enemies saw him as a tyrant, an upstart who threatened the established order and their way of life. They would soon learn that Napoleon was a force to be reckoned with, a leader whose strength and resolve were unmatched. The balance of power in Europe had shifted irrevocably, altering the course of history. The age of Napoleon had begun, marking the dawn of a new chapter in European history. The Holy Roman Empire, a patchwork of states and principalities, had dominated Central Europe for centuries. By the early 19th century, it was a shadow of its former self. Napoleon's victories exposed its weakness. The Battle of Austerlitz sealed its fate. Napoleon saw the empire as an anachronism, a relic of the past. It stood in the way of his vision for a unified Europe under French hegemony. In 1806, he took decisive action. He dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. This was a move of immense symbolic significance. It marked the end of an era. In its place, Napoleon created the Confederation of the Rhine. This was a new political entity directly subordinate to France. It was composed of German states that had sided with him. This move further consolidated Napoleon's control over Central Europe. It also triggered a wave of resentment and fear among his enemies, particularly Prussia. The dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire was a clear indication of Napoleon's ruthlessness and his determination to reshape Europe according to his own design. It was a wake-up call for the remaining powers. They could no longer afford to underestimate the French emperor. His ambition threatened the very foundations of the old order. The battle lines were being drawn for a new conflict. This time, Prussia would take center stage. Section 4. A gathering storm, diplomatic maneuvering and Prussian ultimatums. The dissolution of the Holy Roman Empire sent shockwaves through the courts of Europe. Prussia, once a close ally of France, grew increasingly alarmed by Napoleon's growing power. The Prussian king, Frederick William III, faced a difficult choice. Should he appease Napoleon or confront him? Prussia, with its proud military tradition, was ill-inclined to back down from a challenge. The mood in Berlin was hawkish. Hardliners at court urged the king to resist French aggression. They argued that Napoleon's ambition posed an existential threat to Prussia's independence. In the summer of 1806, tensions reached a boiling point. Napoleon's provocations continued. He offered Hanover, a Prussian possession, to Great Britain in exchange for peace. This was a calculated insult. It was designed to humiliate Prussia and provoke a response. Frederick William, influenced by the war party at court, issued an ultimatum to Napoleon. He demanded that the French withdraw their troops from German territory. He also called for the creation of a new North German Confederation under Prussian leadership. This was a direct challenge to Napoleon's authority. It was a gamble that would have momentous consequences. The stage was set for a showdown between two of Europe's greatest military powers. Section 5. Jena and Auerstedt. The Prussian army shattered. Napoleon, upon receiving the Prussian ultimatum, reacted with a mixture of anger and contempt. He knew that war was inevitable. He relished the opportunity to crush this new challenge to his authority. He ordered his Grande Armée, the most formidable fighting force in Europe, to march on Prussia. The Prussians, confident in their military traditions and the skill of their general, the Duke of Brunswick, prepared to meet the French on the field of battle. They believed that their disciplined troops and superior tactics would prevail. They underestimated the speed and efficiency of Napoleon's army. On October 14, 1806, two decisive battles took place. At Jena, Napoleon led his forces to a crushing victory over the Prussian army commanded by Prince Hohenlohe. Meanwhile, at Auerstedt, Marshal Davout, commanding a smaller French force, achieved an even more remarkable victory against the main Prussian army led by the Duke of Brunswick. The Duke himself was mortally wounded in the battle. The twin battles of Jena and Auerstedt were a catastrophe for Prussia. Their army, once considered invincible, was shattered. Thousands of Prussian soldiers were killed or captured. The road to Berlin lay open. Section 6. The Legacy of 1805, a continent remade. Napoleon's triumph at Austerlitz in 1805 was more than just a military victory. It was a significant turning point in European history, altering the course of nations. It marked the beginning of his ascendancy and the inevitable decline of the old order. The subsequent campaigns of 1806, culminating in the decisive destruction of the Prussian army at Jena and Auerstedt, solidified his dominance. Napoleon's genius lay not only in his unparalleled military prowess, he was a master strategist, always thinking several steps ahead. He understood the critical importance of timing, logistics, and maintaining high morale. He expertly exploited the weaknesses of his enemies, turning their flaws into his advantages. He kept his own troops motivated by a combination of strict discipline and the promise of glory and honor. The impact of these victories on the European map was both profound and far-reaching. The Holy Roman Empire, a symbol of a bygone era, was swept aside, making way for new powers. In its place, Napoleon created new states and alliances that served his strategic interests. The Prussian defeat sent shockwaves across the entire continent. It shattered the long-held myth of Prussian military invincibility. It ushered in a period of French hegemony over much of Europe, changing the balance of power. Napoleon's empire would continue to expand in the years to come, reaching new heights. His victories would inspire both admiration and dread among the people of Europe. His unrelenting ambition would lead to further conflicts and wars, culminating in his eventual downfall and the end of an era. But the legacy of 1805, a year of triumph and profound transformation, would continue to shape the destiny of Europe for generations to come, leaving an indelible mark on history.